As Pakistan's economy totters and debts skyrocket, Imran Khan's official residence in the Ministers' Enclave in Islamabad is to be rented out to earn some money. Incidentally, in the past, Imran Khan has also sold off his official buffaloes and cars in Pakistan Prime Minister's motor pool. But the decision neither generated the funds he anticipated nor the austerity that Imran Khan had hoped for. He was criticized for more symbolism than actual work on ground. Pakistan Prime Minister Imran Khan's palatial official residence in Islamabad. These massive lawns, the living rooms, the terraces, the lounge rooms are all being put up for rent. Yes, you heard that right. Pakistan Prime Minister Imran Khan's house will soon have a to-let signboard. Given Pakistan's precarious financial condition, Pakistan's media too is shocked by this move. In 2018, Imran Khan was also forced to auction cars in Pakistan Prime Minister's motor pool. But the move too proved to be a disaster, with the auction generating only $1.6 million, 1/10 of the amount predicted. Only 61 of the 100 cars were sold, with most being described as in very poor condition. The International Monetary Fund has forecast a growth rate of just 1.5% for Pakistan, coupled with a high rate of inflation and unemployment during the current fiscal year. Another major issue in Pakistan is the mounting international debt and debt servicing. Renting out Imran Khan's house for marriages and other functions may just prove to be yet another eyewash for a country that continues to sponsor terror both in Afghanistan and in India. Bureau Report, India Today. I quickly want to cut across to India Today's executive editor Shiv Aroor for more on this story from across our border. Shiv, is the house actually being rented out? What's the excuse that Pakistan government is offering? What's the reason?
Well, Gaurav, I can't think of a bigger indication of Pakistan's terrible, decrepit financial situation that the Prime Minister's home is having to be put on rent so they can scrape together some finances, to meet their financial commitments both internally and externally. Remember, it was back in 2019 when this grand Prime Minister's official residence, there were indications that it was going to be converted into some kind of a university, a place of learning. Pakistan couldn't even manage that, and now things have gotten so desperate, they're putting it out on rent. They're actually going to have tenants in the Prime Minister's house, for God's sake, paying them a rent, which then they will have to divert to meet their financial commitments. Projects, in country are not getting completed. They're stuck because Pakistan is unable to pay its external loans. It's having to seek waivers and, postponements in installment payments. So this is not a person. This is a sovereign nation that makes grand claims of so many things, has this is a huge sponsor of terrorism, is battling its reputation as far as the Financial Action Task Force is concerned, pumps huge, untold millions and billions, into non-state actors and terrorism pointed against India and Afghanistan, and now with the Taliban as well. And here, the poor Prime Minister's house is having to be put on rent because they don't have the dollars and cents to meet their international commitments. I don't know. I don't quite know what to call that, but this being Pakistan, frankly, I'm not very surprised.
I mean, is this symbolism? Is this just tamasha? Does Pakistan want to be let off the FATF grey list? Are they looking for more loans? They still continue to remain a state sponsor of terror. But let's try and make some more sense from and get some voices from across the border. Arzu Kazmi is a journalist and influencer who joins us from Pakistan. I also have with me on the broadcast Ambassador Vishnu Prakash, a very seasoned former diplomat. Incidentally, he served both in Pakistan and in China, and Lieutenant General Sanjay Kulkarni, former Director General of Infantry. But Arzu, to you first, how bad is the situation in Pakistan if Imran Khan first had to sell off his buffaloes, then about 100 cars, of which I think only 61 were actually sold, and now Pakistan government wants to rent out his official residence?
Gaurav, actually, from the beginning, Imran Khan always says that he wants a simple life and he wants to show the world, or especially the Pakistanis, that he's a very simple person. So he avoid all the luxuries and everything. That's why first he said that he will make his house as a university or college, and now he make it as for that, not the whole house but some portion of it to use by the public as a, of course they will rent it out for some events, fashion shows, as they told, that fashion shows and food festivals, international and national level.
I
And
believe
of
marriage
course it's
parties also. There's been a marriage party organized there. Some brigadier's children were married off there, I'm told.
Yeah, same. I also heard that. And it's not because they don't have money to run the country, but because they want to show the previous governments that they can live a simple life and they can spend less money on themselves.
So less money on themselves by not traveling by road, but taking a helicopter to Banigala. Is that how Imran Khan thinks about spending less money? I mean, Ambassador Vishnu Prakash, you've served in Pakistan. The debt to GDP ratio is up 107% from 73%. China-Pakistan economic corridor, clearly not the cash cow Pakistan expected it to be. In fact, apparently multiple projects have been delayed because Pakistan is sinking. But what do you make of this step, Ambassador?
Well, if it was not so serious and unfortunate, it would be theater and comic. It is so comical. I'm reminded of a young lawyer who went to a senior and asked for tips. And very quickly, what he told him is that if you're strong on facts, hammer the jury. If you're strong on law, hammer the judge. And if you're strong on nothing, hammer the table. So, I mean, this is hammering the table. As you mentioned, he sold off cars, but he's using helicopter. And the Minister for Information says that it is 55 rupees a kilometer, whereas the each trip costs 2 to 3 lakh of rupees. And you are absolutely right. 47% of the budget goes to debt servicing. According to Al Jazeera, 25% of the budget goes for defense. So 70 to 72% of the budget goes for debt servicing and defense. And that is $30 billion. And here you're talking of 8 buffaloes. So what else can one say if not theatrics? And it is unfortunate. And what I'm also a little concerned about is that this time the house is to be rented out for fashion, culture, and education. Fashion and culture is red tagged to a certain set of people, the jihadis. I don't know whether it's almost an invitation to them to take pot shots at the house. It is sad. It's very unfortunate.
Or is this just tamasha? Is there a bigger game plan? Because General Kulkarni, look at ground realities. Pakistan remains a state sponsor of terror. Both Afghanistan and India are victims of terrorists trained, armed, funded and launched by Pakistan. And we're seeing this every day in Afghanistan, where you have Taliban, as Afghanistan's leadership says, led by Pakistan army. So they have funds for terror. They don't have funds to run their country.
Irony, Gaurav. There's no denying the fact that a country which has decided to bleed India with 1,000 cuts, a country that wanted to use terrorism as an instrument of state policy, a country which is absolutely bankrupt today, has an army which runs a business of $20 billion a year. And from the state, it takes about $10 billion a year to survive. It is in debt to the tune of $10 billion to China. It has almost sold out to China on every front. A country which is absolutely divided. It's surprising how Pakistan could be doing such kind of a thing, which believes in nothing but Allah, army and Atangwad. I think it's time that Pakistan realizes that this is not the way to survive. If they have to do it, they have to do it economically. Of course, what Imran Khan may have moved out of the Prime Minister's residence into his plush residence. He has a beautiful plush residence. There's no denying the fact.
Yes.
And all this is absolutely symbolic. That is also true. But it also shows why Financial Action Task Force has put Pakistan onto the grey list, is likely to be put on the black
before
list.
I shift focus to the real issue, which is China, I want to bring in Arzu Kazmi once again. Now, Arzu Kazmi, what are prices of electricity in your country today? What are prices of food items, of fuel? We are told, and this is a report which I'm quoting from your newspapers, that 80% people in Pakistan spend about 80% of their income on just 2 meals a day. And yet your country funds terror in Afghanistan and in India. So how do people in Pakistan look at this? Is your country now surviving purely on drugs and terror and zakat that it may get from the Middle East?
No, Gaurav, I don't think that people accepting this, that Pakistan is funding terror or drugs or all these kind of things. But yes, people are, it's difficult for people to survive here, to pay their utility bills and everything. And as long as I said about the PM's house, again, I said he's just trying to prove that he's very simple person and don't want luxuries. But yes, the timings are wrong. The way he's doing, it's very embarrassing for every Pakistani.
No, but do people in Pakistan believe in all this tamasha? Whether it's selling of buffaloes or it's selling of cars in the Prime Minister's, motor pool, or this tamasha that he's doing, that official residence of the Prime Minister will be given out for shadi parties. So there'll be what, Aaj Mere Yaar Ki Shadi Hai music happening at the Prime Minister's official residence. Is that what Pakistan has been reduced to? At the same time, we'll hear all the jihad naras at your borders.
No, as I said, it's very embarrassing at this time. It's, as you know, it's just a latest news and everybody is very embarrassing, including myself. I don't feel like what I have to say to, to cover them, to defend them. It's very difficult this time. But yes, they are doing it, and I hope that people will respond. And I don't know, but most of the people will not like it because we never seen such kind of things before. So I'm sure that most of the people will be embarrassed.
Or perhaps, Zulfikar Ali Bhutto's dream has finally come alive, has finally become a reality. Ambassador Vishnu Prakash, when he said that they will eat grass, make a nuclear bomb, have an atom bomb. Well, Pakistanis are eating grass and they have their atom bomb. Is this for an IMF bailout? Is all this tamasha for an IMF bailout?
Well, Gaurav, with all due respect, I hope they don't come to such a pass. It is still a neighboring country. We have serious differences, but we wish the people of Pakistan well. It is not just the property of Imran Khan. It is the property of the state. Mr. Imran Khan will not be the Prime Minister forever. There'll be a new Prime Minister. What happens then? How do you maintain such a palatial property? I mean, why do you have to engage in such theatrics? And it's not that nobody is being fooled. You remember in 2018, he wanted to crowdfund $14 billion and from expat Pakistanis and said everybody should contribute $1,000 each. He raised, according to Wall Street Journal, $20 million. Now, I'm saying that with a tinge of sadness, that why can you not realize that you are taking the country and the people down the drain? I just don't want to say anything more. It is painful to see this kind of a decay in our neighborhood.
Decay in our neighborhood. Arzu Kazmi, for the moment, many thanks for joining me. Our other guests in Delhi, stay with